Okay, so it says they want you to go left. Well, left is the x. But remember, if it's with the x, it's the opposite. So in a sense, you're really thinking a plus. So examples of functions would be f of x equals x, I don't know, plus 6 squared. Another example could be g of x equals negative 1/5 absolute value of x plus 1 minus 3. It's okay that there's other things happening, but what you really want to focus is on the left. Let's do another one. H of x equals x plus, oops, let's do it in pink, plus 12. Okay, those are all examples of going to the left. All right, this one we'd need to talk about the transformation. So it looks like it's left 2 and up 1. So left 2, up 1. Left 2 is horizontal. And then up 1 is vertical. So for this I would say horizontal translation 2 units left. Okay. And then, so that's the horizontal. And then for vertical, for the blue up 1, I would say vertical translation 1 unit up. Okay. Let's look at the next one. It says, what could result in the new? So I'm not going to look at the options because for me that's intimidating. I'd rather figure it out myself. So as soon as I see the negative 2, I know that means right 2 because negative 2 with the x, it's the opposite. I see this, it's with the y, which really means it's with the x. So it's reflection over the x-axis. And then when I see the 3, that's a vertical stretch by a factor of 3. Okay, so when I look at the choices, the vertical stretch has nothing to do with it. Across the x-axis, they all say that. But it's a horizontal, and I probably should have said that, horizontal translation. So that's out and that's out. And this says right, I'm sorry, to the right is what I meant. So the answer is D. All right, describe the transformation is horizontal. Now remember, you can't write what I'm writing on the test, but you can do this for the practice. Translation, 7 units. Positive 7 really means negative 7 to the left. And then the positive 2, vertical translation, 2 units up. Okay. Let's go to the next one. All right. Describe the transformation. Negative 4 when it's with the x really means the opposite. Horizontal translation, 4 units right. And this is a reflection. Since it's with the y, it really means it's with the x. Reflection over the x-axis. This one only has one transformation. It's not with the x, so it has to be with the y. Vertical translation, 5 units down. And this one only has one. It's very similar to this one. So it's not with the x, so it's with the y. But when it's a reflection, it's the opposite. Reflection over the x-axis. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Now I want you to evaluate. So you're going to find negative 4, which is your x. So you go along your x to negative 4. Oh my gosh, it touches right there. The y value is 0. Let's do the same thing for this one. Go to negative 9. 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait. 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, if you look, it doesn't even touch, so there's no solution. There is no f of negative 9. That would be no solution. This time, they want the y value. So I'm going to be going along the y, down 3, 1, 2, 3. Well, I can go to the left and I can go to the right. So I have 2 options as answers. One of the options looks like x equals 7, and the other one looks like x equals negative 7. Don't forget the x. This probably means it'll be worth 2 points. This time, I need to go along to 5. Well, if I go along to the y value of 5, there is no solution. There is no x value. All right? summarize what each equation would be in a sentence. It just means describe the transformation. So it's with the y, which really means it's with the x, reflection over the x-axis. Remember, write it out. Don't write Roxa. I don't know what Roxa is. Then, and again, this is just similar to this. It's just written differently. And then the 7 is vertical. So vertical stretch, because it's greater than 1, by a factor of 7. Let's turn the page. It's a lot of transformations. Okay, so all I want you to do is write this in a multitude of ways. So set notation means you just rewrite everything, but you just have it in set notation. My domain is everything x. Set notation. I'm not going to do it in interval notation. It's not applicable because they aren't intervals. They're just points. So -4, 7. I'm not going to repeat the same thing. 2. Range is your y. And if you look, those are all different. 2, 0, 3, 1. They want to know if it's a function. Remember, if it's a function, you need to look at the domain. So you can't have any of the x's the same. So notice how I'm showing my work. You can't just write no. All right, let's do a table. You can either do a vertical table or a horizontal. So -4, 2, 7, 0, -4, 3, 2, 1. Mapping diagram. You can do a rectangle, ovals, whatever. -4, 7, 2, 2, 0, 3, 1. The -4 goes to the 2, 7 to the 0, -4 to the 3, 2 to the 1. Now you're going to graph it. Left 4, up 2, right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, left 4, up 3. Here's another way to show that it's not a function, just in case. And then 2, 1. All right. Okay. It's kind of hard to see this one, but this is one of the first days, and this is what we're going to be doing. So what that means, since this is your y, you go to your x, which is -2. You find the y, and you add 2 to it. So you're focused on the y, and you add 2, 3. So you're in 1 plus 2, 3. Then you go to the -1. You focus on the y, and you add 2. You focus on the y. Looks like that says 2, 4. Focus on the y, add 2. Focus on the y. Focus on the y. Okay? This time what you're doing is you're focusing on the x. So instead of looking at the y values, we're going to take the x values and create a new y value. So I find the 0. When I plug in 0 minus 2, I get -2. Well, the y value is 1. When I plug in 1, 1 minus 2 is -1. The y value, -1. And it looks like it just repeats all the way down. Show me work. Give this is work, and then that's it. That's fine for me, okay? The next thing is you'll notice it's with the x. So just like you did to this one, you're going to do to this one. But the problem is this time you're going to multiply. So you're going to go 2 times -1. 2 times -1 is -2. What's the y value? 1. Then you go 2 times -1/2 is -1. Y value, -1. And it stir and repeats. Okay? Make sure you show me work for that. All right, describe what's happening and give me the vertex, okay? So let's look at it. When I see this one, this is with the x, which really means it's with the y, reflection over the y-axis. This is with the y, so it's vertical translation, 3 units down, okay? So when I do that, my vertex is, so if I started here and I go down and then I flip it over the y, it's still itself. So that means that the vertex is 0, -3. Okay? This one, absolute value, horizontal translation, 2 units, +2 really means -2, left. Vertical translation, 10 units down. Because remember, the vertical is a straight shooter. So let's think about it. I'm going to go left 2 and down 10. That's the point -2, negative 10. Last one, negative 8 really means positive 8. Horizontal translation, 8 units right. Vertical stretch by a factor of 6. So if I had this and I started here, and I went 8 to the right, and then I stretched it, stretching it doesn't change my vertex, so that's 8, 0. Now, as a side note, I want to show you trends. If you look, nothing is being added to the x, 0. Your y is negative 3. 2 is being added, do the opposite. There's your y. Boom. 8 is being subtracted, do the opposite. Nothing's out here, 0. All right. Now, before we've done all the describing, now we're going to go backwards. So horizontal translation, 3 units right, really means to the left, so minus 3. And reflecting over the x really means I'm going to focus on the y. So I'm going to write g of x equals. You can't write f of x because this is the parent. The child has to be different. Okay. Then you're going to go parentheses x minus 3. It's a quadratic. Now, reflection over the x really means it's with the y, and that means the negative goes out there. Okay? Now, this plays into this. This is your x, do the opposite. This is your y, straight shooter. So, g of x equals, parentheses, x minus 3 squared minus 1. This last one isn't going to be bonus. It's just going to be as it is. But there will be part of it that I'll give it a little bit as bonus. I feel like there's a lot going on here, so I'm going to focus on the 3 first. And that is a vertical translation, 3 units down. Now, we know if the negative is with the x, it really means it's with the y. So reflection over the y-axis. But if you remember, you can't have, if you have a number in front, you have to backwards distribute. So what you're doing is taking out a negative 6, and then you're left with x plus 1/3. Or minus, I'm sorry, x minus 1/3. So this is where the part I will give you bonus, if you can see that. Because negative 6 times 1/3, or negative 6 times negative 1/3 is positive 2. So it is still a horizontal compression by a factor of 1/6. But what makes it bonus is this part right here. And this will be a horizontal translation, 1/3 units. If it's minus 3, it's going to go to the left. To the right. Okay, so this is the part that I'll make bonus, but these 3 I'm expecting you to get.